Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I'm Jimmy, and I'm very excited to say that this is our very first episode of Behind the Unicorn. This is a video podcast where we take a peek behind the actual minds of people, not unicorns. Surprise. These people have been successful in business or just in life. They do one thing or know things that sets them or their business apart. Stay tuned and see how it applies and maybe it can help you. Before we get too far, I need to remind you to hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and my very favorite, ring the bell. So today we have a really special guest. Drum roll, please. Hank Bockus.
Hello. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. You got a great setup here.
Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It's not your first time here. We've met before.
Yes. Yeah. I've been in your studio a couple times, and you got a great thing going. We've been at some networking events, so yeah, it's been good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Same here. Always good to see you. Always enjoy to have conversations and find out what you're doing and where you're going.
Sure.
And maybe if you just got back in town or not. So.
Yeah. Oklahoma City is the biggest small town, right, in the world. It's like 6 degrees separation from everybody, and just the people that we know in common and connection, and so it's been fun.
Yeah, for sure. Social media and just the world growing for sure has changed a ton. So the question that we have for you, we have multiple questions for you today. Since we're not looking at mythological unicorns, what makes you a unicorn, Hank?
Yeah, so I think for me, my unicorn status is just, the definition I think of a unicorn, right, is something that has great value. That's kind of a startup with a lot of momentum. So this is my second career of doing business brokering. So I first got into a family business that was 92 years old when we sold that business. So I've experienced old companies that have been running and growing and sold. I've started stuff. I've helped buy stuff, sell. So my experience is all encompassing, from accounting. I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, but just understanding contracts, negotiations, so that a client can have the most after-tax proceeds when they sell their business. And then to what we were saying earlier, I've lived and grown up in Oklahoma City my whole life, and so by being here and doing business, it doesn't take much to connect the dots between buyers and sellers. And so that's the value that we bring.
Yeah. After-tax proceeds is something I just learned about not too long ago, and I still don't know everything about it. Maybe that's a whole different episode, or maybe that's something you cover on your own somewhere else.
It's keeping as much money in your pocket as opposed to giving to the government.
Yeah. And that's why we want to create this, so people can learn more, how we actually met was you were speaking.
Right.
What were you actually speaking out about?
Yes.
Do you remember?
So that morning we were at a business networking group, and we were talking about 9 individual things that you as a business owner, any business owner, can do to improve the value of your company. 9 factors that you can focus on today to make yourself more valuable with the potential of a sell. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to sell, but what you can do is it'll put you in a position to where the business is functioning, it's well lubricated, and you might enjoy it more and you keep it forever. But ultimately, I want to talk to business owners so if they ever had to sell tomorrow, they could. And these 9 factors, you can't do them overnight, but when you work on them slowly and diligently, it'll make your company more valuable.
Sure. Well, I think that's what got us to this point. I was like, what? These people or businesses can't do this overnight.
No.
So that means with one of, I think, my big wham question that I really want to ask you is one reason we're here as well is, we'll get to it.
Okay.
But that allowed me to go, we could help companies like my company, right? But they also need to know what you know in order to even get help. Like you don't know what you don't know, and you can't get help if you don't know.
Right.
So, and then you have to do something about it.
Right. You got it. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So whenever you were talking, there was you had a pitcher, a gallon pitcher. Do you want to kind of?
Sure.
Whoa. Hold on. Cut. Okay, Hank. So whenever you were speaking at the event, there was an analogy of a tea pitcher that sticks in my mind, and every time I see one at home or,
Right.
I'm going out to eat and someone comes over, I'm like,
Good.
geez, I need to work on my business.
That's your company.
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain that?
Sure. So as you said, the pitcher, the gallon, represents a company. Your company, a hypothetical company. And what I found was in looking at business transactions, what caused some to succeed, what caused some to fail. And basically there are 3 requirements that we came up with for in order to a business to transact. So I use the analogy of a gallon pitcher being your company and 3 cups that go down in size like a waterfall tier. The company, what's going to come out of the pitcher is going to be the profit. And so in order to sell a business, the first thing that has to happen is in order to buy the business, the profit flowing into cup 1 has to fill that up, which is going to represent the principal and interest payment on the loan. So that's the first cup. Profit flows into cup 1. That has to fill up and then trickle down into the second cup. The second cup is it has to produce a living wage for the new owner. So again, a bank's not going to loan money on a new business acquisition if the new owner can't put food on the table and pay the utility bills.
Sure.
So that's the second thing. And the last cup, so you waterfall down to the very smallest cup, which represents a cash-on-cash return based upon the risk and the multiple of the business, which work opposite of each other. So if a business is highly risky, therefore you need a higher cash-on-cash return. So if those 3 things can happen with the existing and predictable cash flow and profitability of the business pouring out into waterfalling into those 3 cups, then you've got a sellable business.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great way to
just simple.
put it.
It's
and
simple.
you did a great job of explaining it without
keeping it simple.
Yeah. Without your
and I call that my highly sophisticated business analytic tool. It's the pitcher and the 3 cups.
Yeah, it reminds me almost every other day that I can almost see one. So before we get too far, I need to thank our sponsor, Ally Medical Marketing, for making this episode possible. So
thank you, Ally.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll let that train go by now. It's perfect timing. I mean,
we're helping hospitals, clinics, and doctors train their staff and turn patient education into marketing. It's time to start letting your patients meet their physician before they meet their physician with Ally Medical Marketing.
Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, cool. Thanks again to Ally. I've always wanted to do this. I'm the 80s baby, so David Letterman. I think that's who used to do it. That was pretty cool.
Job well done.
Did you hear that?
I did.
We'll edit in like a cat or something.
Right.
So. All right, so the question, I think I just threw my question. The question I really wanted to ask you from seeing you speak is, what videos could help a company sell for more?
Okay.
You ever run into that scenario?
Sure. So in thinking about that, Jimmy, I think what videos can help a company sell more. So I think there's a couple things. One, a buyer is very different than an entrepreneur. Okay, so you need to first understand that a business buyer wants systems in place. He wants, uniform sales and customer, AR records and employee manuals, and the list goes on and on. He doesn't want to create that. That's an entrepreneur. That's how we're wired as entrepreneurs, to build and start. A business buyer wants to come in and improve those things. So video, I think that can help him in a couple ways. One, let's say you have a secret sauce that you create, a barbecue sauce that you have the special recipe, and you're the business owner, and you've created this, and you've grown this business, and it's been highly successful. How do you get that out of your mind into the hands of a buyer, and if they're going to acquire your company? So one is video. You can literally record the secret steps to making that barbecue sauce, so that therefore when the buyer comes in, they're not worried about, well, if the founder goes away or flies off to Florida when he gets his check, that we can't make the secret sauce. So that's the first thing, is just documented systems. I think that's super valuable. And the other is just promoting the brand. If you have a good, strong, solid brand, that's exponentially valuable to a buyer. And you don't want to disrupt that. You don't want to come in as a buyer and turn things over on their head. if a company has a great brand and a great history, don't disrupt that. Let that continue on.
Sure, because we've had that conversation already
We have.
before about people wanting to rebrand when they're doing like a lot of TV promotion and stuff like that, and going, you know what, I'd like to rebrand in a little while, and this just doesn't make sense. Like whenever it doesn't matter what the logo looks like, the icon or the name, it'd be really tough to. It's like starting over.
Right. I've seen it, and I've seen bad scenarios to where a business, had a solid advertising budget. They were out in the public eye. Buyer comes in, says, hey, I'm going to shave 10% off the bottom line. I'm going to cut that budget. And then all of a sudden, I start noticing I don't see those ads anymore. I don't see the billboards. I don't see the radio or hear the radio or the TV. And the list goes on. And then, I wonder, how's the company doing? Like, are they able to keep that momentum that they had prior to the sell?
Right.
The momentum is key. You want to sell a company and you want to buy a company when it has momentum. It's the analogy of a snowball rolling down the hill. If that thing has got going, it's just going to grow and get bigger, and it gets harder to stop. So if you got a company with momentum, don't disrupt it.
Yeah, totally agree. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, how about this is adding value to your listeners, to your viewers?
Okay, right on. Where'd we leave off?
Where did we leave off?
We were kind of talking about branding. I was probably taking this down a branding tangent.
Right.
So what videos could make a company sell for more? I don't want to put words in your mouth. You're saying, systems and processes.
Systems and processes.
That can work. A couple other ones that I have on my own personal list are training videos.
Oh, that's a great one.
So training videos. I mean, even if it's safety or, how to do
hiring, onboarding.
Right. Or how to run this machine.
Right. And so like what I'm seeing right now, and this is across the board, it doesn't matter what industry, everybody needs to hire people, and so one company needs to hire 2 people right now. And so it's for sale. If the transaction happens, what are they going to do? Well, now a new buyer comes in. He at least has those onboarding videos, the training, the hiring, what we need to do to get somebody into the culture of this new company.
Right.
They're there.
Right.
And again, they're created, and that just makes it so much more attractive to a buyer.
Well, and then another one I have on my list are recruiting videos.
Absolutely.
So recruitment, in my mind, is, because I get asked this, what are you talking about, recruiting videos? Well, where should you start? With the position you have the most turnover.
Sure, absolutely.
So let's attract more of those types of people and or better by making a recruitment video for the high turnover position so you can get the right person. Let's make a video showing what they do, why they do it, so they can have that emotional attachment to their job and they can take pride in it, and that may be all the difference in hiring smarter.
Sure. And then it's working for you while you're not working. I mean, that's the thing that I love about it is it's out there doing its thing, whether it's on social media or on job post platforms, recruiting.
Right.
And that's just key because, again, it goes back to that momentum. If you've got momentum in recruiting and people want to come work for you, boy, that's a good problem to have, especially today.
Sure. So thank you for answering the question. I kind of chimed in with my own answers, but I mean, you're the guru when it comes to selling businesses. And I think we should at least touch on that a little more. What kinds of companies do you help sell? And like what areas do you help sell? Right. So I think you only help companies in Oklahoma sell. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. So we only represent business owners in Oklahoma. So we don't get outside of the state of Oklahoma, mainly because I just don't want to travel that far. So we're really involved in the whole entire process. Therefore, I'm going to be on site. I'm going to be with the business owner. I'm going to be there when we tour after hours. So that's super important to me. So we stay within Oklahoma. We love working with companies with 5 to plus employees.
Okay.
Revenue size varies, but typically between $1 million revenue up to $20 million in total annual revenue. And then industry, we're agnostic in what we serve because the market in Oklahoma City is not big enough to where I only do chiropractic offices. So we'll do anything. A few things that we don't do, and that's easier to say what we don't do than what we do. But we talk to every and all kind of business owners, from dental practices to manufacturing to chiropractic offices to it doesn't matter. At dog grooming, I mean, if we can figure out a plan to get them out and to exit successfully, we'll be willing to work with them.
I don't want to scare off anybody. So, by what we've said so far, because I would love for you to get more calls, right? How many companies come to you with all those cups ready that we talked about? How many people come to you with those? Filling up. They're all overflowing.
So,
and they're profitable and they got it all figured out.
So I've never met the perfect business, right?
All right, so call Hank.
Never met the perfect business, and there is not one. I mean, just isn't. We talked about the 9 factors. Never has there anybody that's had all 9.
Okay.
In order to sell, those cups have to happen. And you just use an example of a company that has a lot of assets, a lot of tangible assets, equipment, trucking, furniture, fixtures, equipment. Let's say inventory. Those are hard, tangible assets. Sometimes that asset value doesn't justify the return price value. And so you still have to do cup 1, cup 2, cup 3. And if you have $2 million in assets, but the business only justifies $1 million in a sale price, then we got to deal with that. You can't sell a $2 million business that justifies for $1 million.
Sure.
So, what we do is we just try to figure out a way how to do that best. So you can work with your inventory, you can work with your AR, you can sell off equipment that isn't being used, that's just kind of been mothballed. Sell it for cash, get it out in the open market. But what is sold with the business has to help produce those sales.
So what I got from meeting with or at the speaking event was, if you're ready to sell today,
right,
we can help you sell today.
Right.
If you have time, what's your time frame that you need to sell in?
Right.
Right. Maybe you just want to retire and you're done with it. You'll help them sell for more.
Sure.
If you have even more time, let's get these pitchers and these little cups together, and we'll sell for even more.
Right. We do a lot of evaluations throughout the year of companies that are just putting their toe in the water, right? They just want to see where they are, what's going to happen, what does it even look like? Can I exit and then never have to worry about money ever again and ride off into the sunset? Okay, so we'll do an evaluation, and it's a super detailed report where it's going to go over all the financial metrics, going to go over those 9 factors. We're going to look at customer concentration, employees, financial performance, the whole gamut.
Recurring revenue.
That's
a good one.
Oh, man. So you're going to get this, and it's going to be a super detailed, doctor report on your company.
Sure.
And there's those companies that look at it and say, okay, I know what I need to do to improve, and they do it. And then some are just in a position where they might just be at an age or a point in their life where I just need to sell. The energy is not there,
right?
And they just go sell.
Yeah.
So
okay. So on average, how long does it take for, let's say, the individual or business has enough time to fill up the pitcher, to pour into the cups that trickle down? How long do you kind of anticipate for that? I know it's probably different for everybody, but I'll let you answer. I don't know the answer.
So if somebody comes and they say, say we do an evaluation and say 4 of the 9 factors are really strong, 5 need working on. Okay, so we can get them in a position to work on those as quickly as they're willing to work, totally understanding that they have a business to run. And I tell people that it's like driving a car. You cannot lose sight of putting your hands on the wheel, having the car washed, waxed, and buffed, and your foot on the gas. That's the business. You have to keep it going. You can't be distracted by all the bells and whistles of trying to do all these things, and then all of a sudden you've let the revenue go down. So understanding we all have businesses to run, but you do have to work on these other things. So, It is probably different for every person. Jimmy, for me, it took 10 years to get to that place. Others, they can get it organized, get the documented systems in place. Say they don't have any documented systems. Well, let's say, okay, take a notepad and start literally writing what you do every day. Mm-hmm. What is your job? What do you do? What do you tell the employees when they come to work? Mm-hmm. Start documenting this so that you can put it in a documented form.
Okay.
So as quickly as the person's willing to work, we can get it up and running.
Okay. Yeah. Great answer. Or information.
Political answer by not answering.
What about, let's say I want to sell today.
Okay.
I don't care about any of the
Right.
stuff you just said. Like,
Yep.
I don't care. I'm done. I'm out.
Yep.
I want to retire, or
Yep.
I've had enough of it.
Yep.
I'm wore out, or I just want to go to the beach.
Sure.
I want to sell today.
Yep.
On average, how long do you think it would take?
So the first part is going to be our work. Okay, so my company side, that will take 30 to 45 days for us to get the whole marketing package and the write-up done. 30 to 45 days. And then here's another analogy for you, Jimmy. There's 3 dials. So if you want to sell your company fast, 2 of these dials, they're interconnected teeth. Okay? You can adjust 2, but you can't adjust the third. Price, terms, and duration. All right? So if you want to sell your business fast, dial down the price. Guess what? Time of it takes to sell is going to go down.
Okay.
If you care about the price, you crank that up, it's going to take more time. The terms, are you willing to do owner finance? Are you willing to negotiate? All of those things are adjustable. So you can adjust all 3 of those dials. If somebody comes and says, I've heard this before where somebody had a terminal disease and they had to sell. Mm-hmm. And it was turned around in 2 weeks because there was high motivation to get that done. And so those are the 3 dials. We don't, in my practice, we don't adjust price high hoping for negotiation and terms, because we price it what we believe is right, and therefore that's the sell price. If you price it high, think about a house. When a residential realtor, they always say, well, if you price it high, it's going to be on the market a long time. Sure. There's no difference in selling a business. So we have to justify. What's
one of your favorite businesses that you've helped sell?
Or
a good scenario.
Yeah. So, man, I love
good outcome.
Gosh, those business owners who continue to, I stay in touch with after the sale. That I consider them friends. I get a Christmas card from them. We'll have lunch. Those are the best clients to work for. The ones who have done a great job in, as you talked about, as a unicorn. Yeah, they were successful in business, but they were successful in their personal life. And those clients who've taken care of the business and personally, so that the sell is just icing on the cake.
So they have good running, like they have maybe some SOP set up. They're kind of taking care of their family and kind of taking care of their health and stuff too. And they go, you know what? I have to get this stuff ready.
That's
right. So they get in there, dive in, and do it.
And those are the kind of people that I love to work for, that have it all dialed in to where the price of the business is not the key motivator.
Sure.
If the price is the key motivator, it's not my favorite client.
Okay.
Because there's the people, the employees that matter, there's the stakeholders, there's the vendors, the banking relationships, all those things that matter. And those owners that care about that and want that to continue on for another 50, 60 years, those are the people that I absolutely love to work with. Legacy businesses, maybe that are in the 3rd or 4th generation, that have decided, a child says, this isn't for me. I've got a business that's 110 years old. I mean, that's just so cool to think that business model is going to work for another 110 years.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds I like to work.
Yeah. You get to meet people that you look up to them, right?
Totally. There are some amazing businesses in Oklahoma, and so many of them you don't see.
Yeah. So you get to meet with a lot of just business owners that you end up looking up to. It sounds like.
They're just some fantastic people and fantastic businesses that are being run in the Oklahoma market. Ones that you wouldn't even know.
Right.
that are making these widgets.
There's a lot of hidden ones. You're like,
hidden
I didn't even
gems
know that existed.
that they sell all over the world. Just fantastic.
I didn't know
salt,
you could buy a FedEx route.
You can buy a FedEx
You know,
route.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that till I
Yeah.
heard someone like, you know.
Just the
like,
salt
wow.
of the earth people. Oklahoma is where I was born and raised, and it's where I'm gonna stay, and that's why I do what I do, to continue to make this a place where my kids can grow up.
Yep.
And continuing with those businesses that I like to support and shop and be a patron of, I don't want them to go away.
Yep.
Baby boomers there's 10,000 baby boomers turning 65 every day in the U.S. What are they going to do? What's the transition? What's the exit strategy that they have? Most of them have none. And those are businesses that we just can't see go away.
Yeah, it's a real problem. So you talked about, you help businesses in Oklahoma sell, but so if you have someone from out of state, you're not going to help them, but you could probably point them in the right direction.
Sure.
Because you have connections. But you will help the Oklahoma business sell to someone out of state. They don't
Absolutely.
have to only sell. And I don't know if that's a dumb or stupid question. Just want to try to create clarification.
Sure, that's
Does that
great.
make-
That's a great point to mention, is that buyers can be from anywhere.
Sure.
And Oklahoma is very attractive right now
Yeah.
for people who are not doing business now, want to be in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we've got businesses that are in similar industries that's a strategic acquisition. They want to be in Oklahoma. So
Awesome. Cool. Man, I love hearing what you do. And like we already said earlier, getting a joy to meet with you and kind of peek inside.
Thanks for having me.
Inside your mind. Thanks again to our sponsor, Allied Medical Marketing. Did you want to add anything, Hank?
I think just if somebody wanted to get a hold or reach out or learn or figure out what the 9 things are, what an evaluation is, BockusConsulting.com. BOCKUS. That's my last name, BockusConsulting.com. That's the best and easiest way to get in touch with us.
Awesome. All right. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Thanks again. You want to give one of these a shot, little David Letterman? You get that camera. I'll get this camera. Here we go.
And good night.
You go first.
Yes.